Okay, moving on to video 7. This is all about the power supply. Okay, power supply unit, also known as the PSU. This is going to be a real brief video. I'm not quite sure how the PSU works myself, and I'd not only have to learn the electrical processes, but teach them to you. Basically, what this does, it converts incoming electrical power into a form usable by the computer. So, the power supply unit, commonly referred to as the PSU or power supply, is a large metal box with a fan that sits at the back of the computer, either at the top or the bottom of the case. This box has a series of wires sticking out of it that go into the motherboard, hard drives, and any other devices that may need extra power. So, every PSU, and I mean every PSU, is going to have, at the very least, a wire for CPU power and a wire for motherboard power. CPU power usually comes in a 4-pin square connection, and motherboard power usually comes in a 20 plus 4-pin connection, though some office computer motherboards can use others such as 6-pin connections. PSUs will also have, but not always, SATA power wires, so these power HDDs and SSDs, and 6-pin connections, which power GPUs and other PCIe units that may need them. So, make sure that your PSU has the right types and amount of wires that you need for your system. Okay, some good images here. Top image is better, in my opinion. So it shows main power connector. This goes right into the motherboard and supplies power. It is 20 pins plus a 4-pin connection, PCIe power connection, 6-pin SATA power, and then Molex, which is for more special devices, then an 8-pin PCIe, and then aux power and floppy power, which is more older. You'll probably never see these. Bottom image, it also has PCIe 6 plus 2. Some GPUs actually need 8 pins because they just need that much power. And this also shows what a motherboard power pin looks like without the separate 4-pin connection. Okay, energy input and output. So all PSUs have a set amount of wattage input and output. Office computers usually have power supplies that output around 250 watts, but power supplies that need to power GPUs and higher-end CPUs can have anywhere from 500 to 1200 watts, though you'll mostly see 500 to 750 watts. So this number is an indication of how much power the PSU supplies when it's at 100% usage. This is very handy when you know what CPU and GPU you'll be using, as too little power won't let them function. So the best part about this is that you can't have too much power. The power supply only supplies power as it's used, so you could very well use a 1200 watt power supply on a system that only needs 500 watts, although this is very unpractical and I highly suggest not doing so. Okay, wrap up. That's basically it for the power supply. I didn't want to cram this into another unit because it's actually pretty important and wouldn't really fit in anywhere else. It's a big metal cube that's placed at the back of the computer, supplies the motherboard and other devices with power that's measured in watts. Also, if you have concerns about your motherboard not supporting the PSU's connections, do not try to work around this. Either get a new PSU or a new motherboard. I can tell you from personal experience, it does not go well if you try to work around this.